Evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for the opportunity to speak here. I'm here to talk about the topic of metaverse. I'm sure there are a number of people in this room who have heard about the term metaverse, have experienced it firsthand, maybe have children who are using games like Fortnite and therefore know firsthand what metaverse is. And there are also, I'm sure, a bunch of us who have heard the term metaverse but have really wondered what this is. I have a simple definition for metaverse. Metaverse is a digital place which has digital representation of people, places, and things. It promises us unlimited potential to create, to co-create, to network and collaborate. That's the promise of metaverse. Fortnite, Minecraft, Roblox. If you're familiar with these words, then you're obviously familiar with the world of metaverse. If you're not familiar with these words, then you're missing out on a mega trend that is sweeping across the world. I have colleagues of mine in my own circle who often ask the question, how real is this whole metaverse concept? Is it truly just a jargon, a humbug, or is it really happening? If you take a look at some graphs here, this I have pulled out of the internet. Roblox, Fortnite, these are some of the leading metaverse platforms. They have 200 to 400 million users on them. Daily usage of 20 to 30 million users. When you have an ecosystem which has 200 to 400 million users, which is more than the population of many countries in this world, then you have an ecosystem where you have a potential marketplace, where brands can come and obviously showcase and do commerce in this particular marketplace. So there is a huge potential. And if you see, it is actually a rising trend. It's not stagnating. It is continuing to increase. And it is said that the entire metaverse space is potentially going to be $1 trillion economy in 2030. Where did this begin? For me personally, the first time I came across metaverse was in early 2000, when we heard about Second Life. The founder is a gentleman, Philip Rosedale, son of a pilot and an English teacher, who in my mind, again, is a visionary, was ahead of his time. He founded a company called Linden Labs, and Linden Labs had this platform called Second Life. Second Life was everything that you would think of from a metaverse standpoint. It actually had a simulation software where you could log in and create your own avatar. Your friends could create their own avatar. You could actually interact on this platform even 20 years ago when the computing power was still fairly rudimentary compared to what we have today. And in this platform, you could do commerce. You could actually go buy things, which was on the virtual world. I came across an interesting statistic that in a 10-year period on Second Life, people spent $2 to $3 billion actual money on this platform and spent thousands of hours. You can actually, and back in the days, they had something called Linden dollars on the Linden on Second Life, and it was something like a few cents of real money would actually buy you a Linden dollar. You could buy clothes to spending hundreds of dollars to buying actually a digital real estate property. But this was like way ahead of time. Where are we today? Today, metaverse is sprawling. There are a huge number of companies which are investing into this space. I can actually bracket them into different categories. At the base level, you have the category of infrastructure players. For example, you have AWS, which is Amazon Web Services, you have Azure from Microsoft, who provide the infrastructure for these metaverses to run. Then you have software companies like Unity and Unreal Engine who provide the software for you to build these metaverses. So, for example, you have Fortnite, you have Decentraland, these run on Unity and Unreal Engine. And then you have capability to build applications on this. And then you have the economy of companies which are providing you things like VR glasses, like Oculus, which is a part of Meta now, which provides you the VR glasses to get an immersive experience. This is really exploding. As you know, and everybody would have probably heard, Facebook renamed itself Meta. When Facebook renamed itself Meta is when a lot of us actually sat up and took notice, saying that something really happening in the meta world. They renamed this as Meta because they obviously see this becoming the next big trend. They are also working on two specific products. One is called Horizon Workrooms. So everybody in the last 2 years would have used Zoom. Horizon Workrooms is a very advanced form of that kind of platform. So in Horizon Workrooms, you can actually have a virtual room where you have your avatar along with your avatars of other colleagues communicating. You are looking at a desktop of your colleague. You're using virtual digital whiteboards to actually use your marker and have discussions. You actually can have a full-fledged discussion in these workrooms. Horizon World as Meta, you can see some promo videos of Horizon World, and it's very impressive. They talk about a world which has unlimited potential, like what we talked about earlier. Ability to create, co-create, gives you the ability to collaborate, network. It's just amazing, very powerful. If you get a chance, you should look up their video online on Horizon Worlds. It's amazing. Metaverse is big. There's no doubt about it. Microsoft spent $80 billion to buy Activision because they believe this is really, really important. There are many things that's happening on the meta world. So Sandbox, for example, is a meta world. On Sandbox, you have had Warner Music Group launch their musical virtual concert. There are more such things. You have brands like Gucci having their, having their store on MetaWorld. You have Nike launching their products on MetaWorld, movies being launched on MetaWorld, and so on. So if you really go back to that aspect that if I have an ecosystem of 300 or 400 million people in one place, then you have a powerful marketplace where you can actually sell and your products and your brands. So if you really broadly look at it, there are two worlds here. One is the world of the metaverse creators. These are the people who provide you that platform. So you have Decentraland, you have Epics of the world. You don't have to worry about building those platforms. You can actually go and build your applications on those platforms. So you have the metaverse creators, and then you have the experience creators. Most of us from the industry would belong to the experience creators world. That's where you build your applications. Now you might ask, what applications should we be building? Let me give you an example. Let's say you are a retail brand and you own a flagship store in an iconic building, let's say on Residency Road, right? Now you have fans of your brand all around the world. You can actually create a virtual presence of that showroom or that flagship store in the meta world, so that anybody in the world who is a fan of your brand can have the experience of literally walking through that flagship store on the meta world. In fact, you can go to the point of saying, I can actually sell goods in that particular store, which can be shipped in the physical world. So they can actually receive the goods. In some sense, we call that shifting of the experience. There is another category of experience that you can deliver. As an example, let's say you have a brand ambassador who's very, very popular. You can actually create an experience on the meta world where the brand ambassador interacts with the fans. You can also create an experience where you have an avatar which is AI enabled and mimics the brand ambassador and provides interaction with the fans. So there are many things that is possible, but the whole idea is you segregate the meta creator and the experience creator, and most of us from the industry actually focus on the experience creator part of the business. How this might pan out for your enterprise. To explain this, let me use the next slide. So Infosys has something called a Meta Foundry. Foundry is a place where you build things. What we do at Infosys is we have created a bunch of accelerators and tools which help our clients to quickly build something on the metaverse. Typically, when a company talks to us about metaverse, the conversations often start with the question about what really is metaverse. And then it progresses along. Customers ask us, okay, I think I get an idea of what is metaverse. What is my industry doing on a metaverse? What is my competition doing in metaverse? Then it goes, so that's the discover phase. So then it goes on to understanding what would be the right use cases for metaverse. And then we brainstorm this through the design thinking workshops and the likes, and then build MVPs, which is in the build phase, and then obviously we have the opportunity, once the MVP is proven, to help them scale. So this is typically what enterprises would go through. Infosys as a company has worked with many brands over the years. In fact, we started our journey on the virtual world way back, several years back, 2-3 years back already. And one of the early things that we did was we were working with Australian Open, and they wanted us to launch, their shops in the virtual world. So we actually we recreated Melbourne Street along with the graffiti and the shops and everything. You could actually walk down the Melbourne Street in the virtual world and go and do your shopping. So this is all becoming real today. One of the questions people ask me is evolution of metaverse. I believe that we are at the starting point. We're just beginning the journey. What comes future is anybody's guess. It's crystal ball gazing, we all can guess. But yes, there are many things that will happen. Companies will migrate a lot of their commerce onto metaverse. That's a potential future that we are seeing. There is also the possibility of seeing private metaverses where a company says, you know what, I want to move my intranet, which you have in your companies, onto a metaverse. So that metaverse can be a private metaverse which runs on my infrastructure and is not accessible to anybody else, or accessible only by invite, right? Whatever is the case, I would like to conclude by saying, or giving my view here, that metaverse obviously is here to stay. And probably metaverse in the years to come will become the new way of accessing internet. Thank you very much.